And now it's time for Coach's Comments, presented by Southside Auto Tech. Cristiano Sameta with you, alongside Stars head coach and GM Cody Chupp. Cody, 4-3 loss in overtime to the Omaha Lancers. We've seen two games now within a couple of days here where you're leading heading into the third period. It's human nature to sit back, sure, but what would you rather see your team do towards the dying moments of that game with 4 minutes left and you're up 3-1?
Try to score 4. I mean, I think that's probably the best way to put it, and what our message was in between periods was we have to stick to our game. And you could feel it a little bit in the locker room, the mentality, the conversation, the emotion. In between the first and the second, it was focused. In between the second and the third, it's, again, a little bit of human nature, but it's unacceptable when you've been in this spot 2 days ago and it didn't go your way to think that you had it figured out, to think that it was going to be easy, and that they were going to sit back and let you have one. And you know, a credit to Omaha and Wilkes, you know, getting aggressive, getting adventurous a bit and pulling the goalie. And, you know, but that to me is a product of the goals that we gave up late are a product of how we started that period and our mentality going into the period. The first 5 minutes of the third period translated into the late minutes of the third and into overtime.
Lack of offensive production in terms of the shots on goal. You got 3 goals really early in this game on 13 shots. Then ever since that point, they switched goaltenders. The momentum shifts eventually towards the end of the game. How can you channel that more offensive, aggressive approach that you saw in the early portions of the season? And even when you were losing games 5-4, 6-4, what have you, the offense just hasn't been there. You're getting production from depth guys at times, but the consistency, I think we can all agree, throughout all 3 zones just has to be harnessed here as we get through the next couple of weekends here.
Yeah, no question. And right now we're, you know, I don't know the best way to describe it, but when things don't go your way and the bounces kind of start to pile up against you, and bounces, I don't want to take that the wrong way. They're self-inflicted, a lot of those bounces. But when things start to not go your way, you know, now you look at this weekend, a lead going into the third, and we come out of it with 1 point total on the weekend. All of a sudden, the mentality, it's hard to keep it from shifting from we're aggressive, we're confident, we have a little bit of swagger to our game. When things start to happen like that, the mentality shifts into oh boy, what's going to happen next? And that's not something that we can embrace. It's not a road that we're willing to go down or going to go down. We have to stay focused, and the message after tonight's game is we didn't do enough right on Friday. And whether you believe in hockey gods or you don't, 2 periods is not enough to convince them to rule in your favor, so to speak. Like you have to stay consistent in your approach, and our approach hasn't been consistent enough. So we are not finding ways to put teams away. And are we capable? Yes, we've seen it in our game. We've seen it in the lineup that we have. But we have to find a way to get that confidence back, get that swagger back, where we get 3 and we want 4, and we want 5, and we want 6. And that has to be our approach, because we play best, like most teams, we play best when we're on our toes, when we're forechecking, when we're getting on top of our opponent. When we sit back and we're playing not to lose, our game looks like it did in the late portions of the game tonight.
Quick turnaround for you guys. Now it's Friday, Saturday. You're at home against Sioux Falls, a team that you've had success against. But at the end of the day, you don't really worry about the opponent right now, because if you look at the record and the games you've had against the Stampede, you've dismantled them in a couple of those games. So what is your approach to simplification of this hockey team's game? Because like you just said, the forecheck, Owen Michaels to Zach Erdahl to Spencer Smith, that's an example of Lincoln Stars hockey. Committing to that for 60 minutes, I think you guys will be on the right track come Friday and Saturday at the Icebox.
Yeah, I mean, the 3 goals that we scored tonight are goals that you should see on a regular basis from our team. We score a forecheck goal, or we get in with that second guy, we take the puck away, nice little play, and then a secondary play and a great finish from Spencer. the first goal that we score is great push speed over the top, which allows us to use the weak side of the ice. Nice finish by Barbolini. Second one starts with Owen Michaels taking the puck away, doing a job in the defensive zone, winning a battle. Push speed creates that 2-on-1. Nice hesitation and great finish. But those are staples of our game. Those are things that, as our fans watch us play throughout the year, when our game's on, those are things that are telltale signs when we're doing those, we're having success. And for us right now, it's a little bit of the dog days. We're midpoint of the season. We're Christmas breaks over. We have to stay hungry, and what we have to do is say, okay, this gives us success. We like success. Let's do this more often. And it seems really simple. But like I said, when those bounces start going against you and you lose 3 in a row, it's hard to keep young minds focused on the confidence that we should have as a group.
One last question for you, Cody. The end result, obviously not what you like, but what you do like is Jake Musatelli getting back in the lineup. Had a couple of great saves in the first 2 periods. In the third period, he was battling. How good was it just to have Moose back? And you saw a little bit of that swagger from your team when you're up 2-0, when you're up 3-1. The mentality sort of shifts when Moose is in the crease. At least it showed in the first 20 minutes of the night.
Yeah, he was really good early, and we needed him to be, and that lended itself to confidence in our group. I thought in the later portions of the game, the lack of confidence in our group lended itself a little bit to a couple that Moose probably would like another whack at. But it's great to have him back. It gives us, again, that depth in that position, gives obviously a much-needed rest for Mac, and creates, again, that competition that we're looking for, where we have 2 guys that we think give us an opportunity to win, and we're looking forward to those guys battling out and maybe one of them taking the reins and running with it here for a bit.